This is a presentation of my research designs. I will be displaying a correlation research design as well as a difference research design. The first design that I will be displaying will be my correlation research design. The statement of problem, or the purpose of this study, is to investigate if there is a correlation between the student's obtained reading level by the Rigby test and the RIT score attained on the reading portion of the measure of academic progress, or the MAPS assessment. An accurate measure of reading ability provides valuable information for pacing and differentiation of classroom instruction. I hypothesize that the RIT score on the MAPS test increases due to a higher level obtained on a Rigby test. Taking a look at the sampling and the subjects, data will be collected from the scores of second grade students in their final semester of the grade level and preceding their final testing windows. I chose for them to be measured at this time because it is the end of their second grade learnings. These second grade students are attending a public school in the Minot Public School Division, and this school has approximately 73 total second grade students. With the research design using a sample of only 18 students. I chose to use these 18 students because they are from the same classroom with the same teacher, and therefore there is limited variability on the learning methods. A total of 3 students are on an IEP. However, they did complete the tests entirely on their own with no outside assistance. I will measure them through a Rigby test as well as a MAPS reading test. So the Rigby scores are obtained by administering a reading test to each student individually. The same teacher for each student, listens as the students read aloud. If the students can achieve 95% or higher accuracy and answer all of the comprehension questions correctly, they are able to proceed to the next level indicated by letters in order of the alphabet. I chose to use an interval of 1 to 26 because there are 26 letters in the alphabet, with each letter being represented by 1. So A would be 1, B would be 2, C would be 3, and so on. The reading MAPS scores are obtained by administering the MAPS assessment. This assessment is completed online, and the information provided in both Rigby as well as MAPS is interval data. The MAPS reading test, the teacher is not allowed to help the students in any way. For the method of analysis, a Pearson product-moment correlation was used to analyze outcomes and strength of the relationship between the Rigby level obtained and the reading MAPS score obtained. The t-test for the significance of the correlation coefficient was used to determine if a significant relationship exists, and the data set for these scores is illustrated in this chart here. So you will notice that the Rigby level is in the first or the second column, and it was transferred or converted to a number in the fourth column, and the MAPS reading RIT score obtained is located in the third column. Simply by looking at this chart right now, you may notice that the higher the Rigby level, it seems to be that the MAPS reading RIT score is higher as well, but we will analyze our data to find out. This is my data interpretation and analysis. If you take a look at the chart, this is the results from the Pearson product-moment correlation test. The outcomes indicated R equals 0.876. So this indicates that a very strong relationship exists. The results concluded that the relationship is significant at the 0.01 level. This is a positive correlation. As related to my previous hypothesis, the RIT score obtained on a MAPS test increases as the Rigby level increases, and this Pearson product-moment correlation test proves that that can happen. So after running the test, the conclusions that I came up with was that the positive, very strong correlation indicates that my hypothesis was correct. So as Rigby level increases, RIT score obtained on the reading maps test increases as well. Now there are many scenarios or recommendations that could occur that could sway my results or change my results to more positively or more negatively. And some of these recommendations include expanding the sample to different teachers and different students. So my sample was of 18 students from the same classroom, and these students all are tested by the same educator on the Rigby test. This teacher may interpret comprehension questions differently on a Rigby test than another teacher, so this could sway their Rigby level that they obtain potentially. Another thing could be that I would include different age groups in my study. So I only focused on second grade students, and curious to see if students younger or students older would come up with the same results, as well as creating more diversity by examining different students from different schools. So my study only looked at one school. I'd like to expand this and see if this is occurring across more schools as well. I am now going to explain the difference design that I chose to research. The statement of problem, or the purpose of the study, is to investigate if there is a difference between attack percentages obtained in a complete volleyball match due to age. An accurate measure of ability due to age provides valuable information, allowing coaches to adjust practice plans, game situations, as well as individual critiquing of athletes to improve overall success. I am currently coaching, and that is why I decided to come up with a design associated to volleyball. And one area that my team right now needs improvements in is whether or not they are attacking at a positive number. So right now we're making a lot of errors, and that's why I'm curious to see if the attack percentages obtained in a JV match compared to a varsity match is different. The hypothesis that I came up with is that varsity will obtain a higher attack percentage compared to JV due to physical developmental levels and experience. For the sampling and subjects of this study, data will be collected from the attack scores obtained from a JV girls volleyball team compared to a varsity girls volleyball team. Typically, a JV girls team consists of grade 9 and grade 10 players, and a varsity girls volleyball team consists of grade 11 and grade 12 players, and that is the case for these two teams. Both teams are collected of students attending the same high school in Brandon, Manitoba. This high school is a AAA school, which has approximately 550 students enrolled. What AAA means is the size of the school based on enrollment, so that would be the division that they compete in. So a AAA school is smaller than a 4A school, and therefore they don't typically compete against each other at provincials and other competitions. This French immersion school has a large focus on drama and the arts, so athletics is not a primary focus at this school, and there is not a whole lot of interest in athletics at this school. Students participating on both teams have roughly similar volleyball backgrounds. What this means is that they all participate in outside club programs, which produce similar coaching and instructional strategies. My sample size is 6 athletes on each team, and this study will measure individual scores as well as team scores, so individual attack percentage and team attack percentage. What an attack is it is any time the ball hits the ground or you were the cause of a point due to an overhead motion. An attack error is when the other team cannot continue play on the ball. So if it goes out of bounds or if it goes into the net or if it gets blocked, that is considered an error. Attack percentages will be calculated, and they are calculated based on individual total produced errors subtracted from total successful kills. This retrieved number will then be divided by total attempts in the match. This information will be calculated based on one match, with each team playing the same opponents at their JV level and their varsity level. So the JV team from this school will play the JV team from another school, and the varsity team from this school will play the varsity team from the same school that the JV are playing. Data will be retrieved by taking by the same person taking stats. So the same person will be sitting on the bench for both the JV team and the varsity team during their matches, and they'll be statting every time there is an attempt, every time there is an error, and every time there is an successful attack. And stats from one complete match will be collected through interval data. Method of analysis used for this study is an independent samples t-test, which are measuring two different groups, a JV team and a varsity team. If you take a look at the chart provided, JV is represented by the number 1 under the team column, and varsity is represented by the number 2. And then in the second column is their attack percentage their overall attack percentage that each player on the specific team received during one match play. You can receive a negative attack percentage if you make more errors than you make kills or attacks. For the data interpretation and analysis of this study, after running an independent samples test in the SPSS program, the results indicated that T of 10 equals 0.44 with P greater than 0.5. So this means that the T represents the test statistic used, which was the independent t-test. 10 is the number of degrees of freedom. 0.44 is the obtained value from working with the equation and running the test in SPSS. And P at greater than 0.5 indicates the confidence level. The obtained value of 0.44 does not exceed the critical value for 0.5 at the degrees level of 10. It needed to exceed 2.228 in order to be effective. Therefore, my results of the study were not. Conclusion and recommendations of the study. The results of the study were not effective. In order to review my information farther and to see if there is a difference between attack percentage at a JV level compared to a varsity level, more studies are needed. Recommendations for this include not only analyzing one match, but an overall season. By only analyzing one match, we don't get a full perspective of what the athlete is capable of. Using a program to collect statistics besides an individual could produce different results as well. Errors could have been made in the handwritten statistics, and also not only focusing on one school but multiple schools as well.